Hulk Hogan net worth. Who will inherit WWE legend's multi-million-dollar empire? When news hit on July 24, 2025, that Hulk Hogan had died at 71, it felt like the wrestling world lost one of its loudest, boldest voices. The bandana, the mustache, the ripped yellow shirt, and that famous, "What ya gonna do, brother?" made him a household name far beyond the ring. Hogan's career went way past wrestling. He appeared in movies, TV shows, and even reality series, transforming himself into a global brand known to fans worldwide. By the time he passed away, Hogan's net worth was. But now that the Hulkster is gone, one big question is floating around. Who gets his fortune? From his new wife to his kids, and with a few twists thanks to Florida's inheritance laws, it's not as simple as splitting the money. Just like his wrestling storylines, this one has a mix of family drama, legal moves, and big numbers, making Hulk Hogan's final chapter as headline-worthy as his life in the spotlight. Hulk Hogan's net worth at the time of his death. Hulk Hogan spent 4 decades building one of the most recognizable brands in sports entertainment. At the time of his death, Hogan's net worth was estimated at around $25 million, via. Not bad for a guy who started out body-slamming his way through small Florida wrestling circuits in the late 70s. That fortune came from more than just his iconic matches in WWE and WCW. Sure, Hogan made millions from main event paydays and merchandising deals. Those yellow t-shirts didn't just sell themselves, but he also proved he knew how to cash in outside the ring. His Hogan's Beach Shop stores in Florida became tourist hotspots. He opened Hogan's Hangout as a restaurant and music venue, and he even launched his own beer brand. Add in endorsement deals, reality TV paychecks from Hogan Knows Best, and guest spots in movies, and it's clear the Hulkster never stopped working the crowd. Then there was the infamous Gawker lawsuit after the blog site posted. Originally a jaw-dropping $140 million judgment, it was eventually settled for $31 million. That payout alone could have bought a lot of bandanas and wrestling boots. Brooke Hogan recalled that. His estate reportedly includes an $11.5 million waterfront mansion in Clearwater, Florida, a bold car collection that screams Hulkamania, and memorabilia from decades in the spotlight. Like him, it's big, colorful, and built to last. Hogan didn't just live large. He made sure his bank account matched his persona right up until the final bell. Who gets a share of Hulkster's wealth? When a legend like Hulk Hogan leaves behind a fortune, the big question everyone whispers is, so, who gets what? While the exact breakdown of his will isn't public, and probably locked tighter than a steel cage, it's safe to say the list starts close to home. His wife, Sky Daly, would likely be front and center, and his kids, Brooke and Nick Hogan, aren't exactly out of the picture either. Friends say Hogan was fiercely protective of his family, so it's hard to imagine him not setting them up for life. Of course, the man had business ventures, brand partnerships, and a small army of memorabilia that might end up in auctions or charity events. And with the kind of career Hogan had, you can bet there are a few surprises tucked away, whether that's for longtime friends, trusted business partners, or even causes he cared about. One thing's for sure, splitting up the Hulkster's empire isn't going to be as simple as counting to 3 after a leg drop. Why is Sky Daly entitled to millions? When Hulk Hogan said, "I do," to Sky Daly in 2023, it wasn't just a wedding. It was a legal power move she probably didn't even realize would someday change her bank balance forever. Under Florida law, the surviving spouse has a golden ticket, a mandatory 30% share of the estate, no matter what's written in a will or trust. Yes, even if Hulk had left her nothing on paper, the law makes sure she's still cashing in. The report further says she moved fast after Hogan's sudden passing, like lightning fast. We're talking locking down the mansion, securing control over any businesses, and making sure valuable assets like his WWE licensing rights were tucked safely into trusts, with her as the key beneficiary. Of course, this isn't just about a woman getting lucky in marriage. Daly and Hogan shared a whirlwind romance, with him publicly calling her the love of his life. She stood by him through health scares and career ups and downs, and now, by law, she's protected from being shut out of the empire he built. So, while the headlines might make it sound like a gold digger plot twist, the reality is simpler. Florida's marriage laws are designed to ensure the spouse isn't left high and dry. Whether the wrestling world likes it or not, Sky Daly is walking away with millions because, in love and law, timing is everything. Brooke Hogan's decision to step away from the will. Brooke Hogan's choice to remove herself from her father's will back in 2023 wasn't a rebellious power play. It was a tearful plea to stay out of She says she was pregnant with twins, feeling like she had something to lose and admitting that money didn't matter at that point in time. The reasons she shared hit hard. Brooke was scared, not of Sky Daly personally, she emphasized there were no hard feelings, but of the orbit around her father. She cited fears of clashes with her mother, Linda, and concerns about Daly's perceived ties to Scientology, something she said left her unsettled. She worried about how deep the influence went, saying, "I don't know how deep this stuff goes. It scared me, and I just said, I want out." Still, this wasn't about alienation. Brooke poured out hope that her father would have entrusted her with his legacy, his trademarks, and intellectual property so she could honor him that way. She said, via the Bubba the Love Sponge podcast. Nick Hogan's stake in the estate. Let's talk Nick Hogan. Unlike the breakout drama that surrounded Brooke, Nick's path to his dad's legacy feels quieter. He has managed to stay on his father's good side, so if the estate plan included him, he might be in quite a solid spot. Nick hasn't fired any public shots over his dad's will or the sudden shifts in the family headlines. In fact, the vibe seems peaceful. He even shared a gracious comment on Sky Daly's heartfelt Instagram post on Hulk Hogan's birthday. Legally speaking, if Hulk Hogan left a portion explicitly to Nick or omitted Brooke, then Nick could stand to inherit even more. As a state expert points out, if Brooke were disinherited, Nick would likely gain that share, assuming the paperwork is clear. Still, much of the estate may be locked up in trusts, and if those don't include him or if Daly becomes the sole beneficiary, Nick could face some roadblocks.